Thanks very much for coming. We're talking about Face-to-Facebook, which is actually the third and last piece of a trilogy. Trilogy that started with Google itself, which I'm still proud to say that was awarded by an honorary mention by Prias Electronica in 2005, and by Amazon Noir. Face-to-Facebook is the third piece. The trilogy is called Hacking Monopolism.
Yeah, thank you for all. Face-to-Facebook is, of course, a project about Facebook, and it's really similar to the other project of the trilogy. In fact, we use the data that is really relevant for Facebook, one of the most powerful companies in the world right now. So we downloaded from Facebook 1 million pictures, more than picture, public profiles, so name, surname, the major picture, image, the JPEG, and few other data, basically the public data that you can find on Google, even on Google. These from 55 countries over the world, so it was really a big database that we could manage to store in our laptop, let's say. And in the end, it's ended up to be like 10 gigabytes of JPEG picture. So then we started to filter all these JPEG through a face recognition software, because we look at the faces that were really well recognizable, because sometimes they are avatar, you know. And then, always with the same software, we grouped these JPEG between female and male people, because on the public data of Facebook, you don't know the gender of these people. So we had to figure out automatically, and that the software did. After this process, we end up to have 250,000 profiles out of these 1 million. Means that these 250,000 profiles were really well, really good picture in a way. And then we used again another version of facial recognition software that find out the expression, so the facial expression of all these people, or all of these faces. Basically, we fed the software with samples, a sample of 6 categories of facial expression. So we just thought, okay, this person should be smug or a social climber, and so on. And the software figured out, found basically the rest of the picture, categorized all these big database that we had. The last step after this categorization was just publish everything on a dating website. And so on the dating website called lovelyface.com, all these people were categorized by their temperament, name, surname, nationality, and even preference. It was really a well-organized database on this frame dating website, so everyone could find a potential partner, just say easygoing Austriac girl that like cinema, blockbuster cinema, let's say. And you could find some girl like that, and you could arrange a dating by clicking on the contact button, and then ended up in the on-page, Facebook homepage, and so closing the circuit, the circle, and actually to contact the real person.
Okay, how we start this? We started also with a bunch of theoretical considerations. Generally speaking, about social network and, of course, about Facebook. Social networking, we think it's naturally addictive. It's about exploring something very familiar that has never been available before. Staying in touch with the past and present friends and acquaintances in a single, potentially infinite virtual space. This phenomenon challenges us psychologically, creating situations that previously were not possible. Before the rise of social networking, former friends and acquaintances would tend to drift away from us and potentially become consigned to our personal histories. Having a virtual space with reactive people constantly updating their activities in the basic, powerful fascination of the social network. There's another attraction based on the elusive sport, or perhaps urge, to position ourselves. An intimate involvement and endless questioning of our online identity, often literally juxtaposing our physical one, is perpetrated in the social network game. But social network platforms are not public organizations designed to help support social problems, but private corporations, of course. Their mission is not to help people create better social relationships or to help them to improve their self-positioning. Of course, their only mission is to make money. Economic success for these corporations rests on convincing users to connect to the several hundred people who await them online. The market value of these companies is proportional to the number of users they have. Facebook is valued, for example, at around $50 billion, and it sports 750 million users spread around the world. The game can often translate into a form of social being in which the number of friends a user has is never enough to satisfy. But what kind of space is Facebook? Facebook is not home. It is way larger and more crowded. And it's not the street, because you are supposed to know everybody in your space. Facebook is an eternal, illusory party under surveillance and recorded for all the time. Its structure invites you to first replicate and then enhance your real social structures, replicating your experiences on your own personal screen space. But let's see how we represent it as an installation face to Facebook.
Yeah, this project became really not complex, but as many layer. This was the theory. So on the website you can find a long text that was just a part of the theory. Then we have the installation that actually is here as well. And in this installation we have mainly a selection of the picture of these 250,000 pictures. So they are like 3,000 pictures on 3 panels grouped by facial expression. But the most interesting part is that actually it became a kind of performance, and this performance started from the first day of the publication of this project that was in Transmediale Festival in Berlin this winter on the 2nd of February. And as soon as we sent off the press release of this project, mainly on the opening of the festival, the performance started. That's because the media reacted really quickly, so the news spread through the networks, the media network, I mean newspaper, blog, Twitter, Facebook as well, all over the world. And in a few hours we could already count many press coverage and not only. That is an example that explains what was going on just the day after of the publication of the project.
Okay, this is a video that only 3 days later than it was public in Transmediale we found it online.
The media has dubbed them hacktivists. Two artists from Italy stole 1 million names, photos, and locations from Facebook profiles. They chose their favorites and created lovelyfaces.com, a fake online dating site complete with 250,000 singles who didn't even know they were looking for love. The reason, according to the hackers, to prove a point about the social network's privacy settings. Facebook, an endlessly cool place for so many people, becomes at the same time a goldmine for identity theft and dating, unfortunately, without the user's control. This is the final project in the 3-part series Paolo Sirio and Alessandro Ludovico have been working on. Each one is focused on a different internet powerhouse: Google, Amazon, and now Facebook. Using face recognition software, they were able to sort the profiles by gender, nationality, and even personality. But they say they don't have any plans for monetary gain. Not surprisingly, Facebook is not happy. Barry Schnitt, Facebook's director of policy communications, told Wired this breaks Facebook's terms of service, and the hacking duo could end up in court. We have taken and will continue to take aggressive legal action against organizations that violate these terms. We're investigating this site and will take appropriate action. But according to allfacebook.com, it might not be that easy. While those rules enable Facebook to successfully pursue violators in U.S. court, getting a lawsuit going outside of the country can be tricky. TG Daily points out, this whole thing sounds very similar to Mark Zuckerberg's face mash. It's kind of ironic because, as anyone who's seen the social network could tell you, the entire concept of Facebook began when Mark Zuckerberg stole personal data about students that was stored on university databases. But Digital Trends' Jeffrey Van Camp asks, did these hackers really think they could take on Facebook? He says, it was a sad attempt. If this is some grand plan to destroy Facebook, Sirio and Ludovico may be more delusional than the millions who believe Facebook is a secure, private place to chat with their friends. For much of the day Friday, the Lovely Faces website came up with an error message reading, sorry, the website will not work. You should try again. For Newsy.com, I'm Christina Hartman. Multiple sources,
the reason
the real
why
story.
the dating website was not working at that time is because it was flooded by requests of people trying to see if they were inside the dating website. So we had like a million of people looking at the same time, so the server collapsed, of course.
Yeah. And a friend, luckily enough, helped us to make a little trick to make it online again, but the viral news about face-to-Facebook started to spread in a very incredible way for us. We really didn't expect something like that. We collected, this is the list. Today we have 1,100 different reactions from various media. You can imagine, of course, also from Austrian media. This specific one found out that on the dating website there was also Andreas Molzer, which is, we learned, is a politician in Austria, but we have anything from the press to Globo to Vanguardia, reactions all over the world, even famous like the Chronicle, Le Nouvel Observateur, and even, and this is The Age, one of the major newspapers in Australia, who made a poll, which was, should lovelyfaces.com require consent to use your photo? And I don't have the screenshot here, but 9,700 people replied. You can guess the percentage, 97% said no, but 3% said yes. They can use my photo. The thing is that this press reaction was incredible on two different levels. One was the media one, and one was the personal one. What I mean is that all this press reaction, we started to think about why it went so viral, and we thought that we were able to package, in a way, a kind of perfect news. It was perfect news because it was about Facebook, so involving potentially 750 million users, and it was about the danger concerning to Facebook, so everybody could have been interested and involved. That's probably why the news spread virally, but of course online there was another level, which was the personal communication. During Transmediale, we passed our time in front of the screen just reloading Google News Tracking and Twitter, and we had an average of one new tweet about lovely faces every 2 minutes, saying, hey friends, check this out and see if you're there. Okay, we will go back about personal reaction in a while, but of course media and singular individuals were not the only one reacting to the project.
Yeah, that was part of the performance. In a week, we had this 1,000 press coverage, so it was really quick. And after 2 days, basically, we also received the first letter from the Facebook's lawyers. That is a cease and desist letter, of course. I mean, it was just the beginning of the troubles, actually, I would say. In this letter that we received by email, but actually was with our home address in Italy, we still don't know how they found them. But anyway, they asked, of course, to stop immediately the dating website and never do again what we did. They asked to delete all the data that we stole, and giving back all this data too, because it's owned by them, apparently, allegedly. And then they shut down our account, because we used to have Facebook as well. And so we are banned, so we are not allowed to use Facebook, unfortunately.
Yeah, we are banned forever.
Forever. And yeah, and that was the first letter that we had. So we waited a couple of days more, because fortunately enough, we received this letter on Friday evening. And, you know, because of the weekend, we thought, okay, they are out of the office, and so we can go a little bit further. So we kept the dating website like 3 days more online. That was even, anyway, really intense, and Alessandro will explain why. This legal situation is still going on. Actually, just today, we sent to them another letter to this lawyer of Facebook, because we got also another lawyer that defends us. We found this lawyer that worked under the pro bono program through the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and we are still out of the court, so it's not a proper lawsuit. We just exchange letter, and they say that we violate the security, and they quote always some American law, and our lawyer, and what also we say is that we actually didn't hack properly Facebook, because that was public data. We didn't use even our profile to scrape this data, and we didn't force any kind of protection of them. Actually, all this data has been downloaded 2 years ago, when Facebook was really without any protection. Now it's quite impossible to do the same, but at that time was really easy. So anyway, it's a long process of exchange of email and call between these two lawyers, but we still are free, and we still have all this data. We didn't delete that. We didn't give back to them anything. But that was not enough. There is also, it must be said that actually they also asked to shut down the project at all. I mean, the website that explains what we did, the theory, the diagram, even the installation. They don't want that we show the installation. They don't want that we talk about it even now. And we also received another email from another legal department of Facebook asking to not use Facebook in the domain name of our website, because the word Facebook is trademarked by them. So it's really hard, and they are really, really aggressive, but we still are here. So
yeah, we can still tell you the story. Yeah. Yeah, and indeed we are very, very happy of this prize, also because then maybe the Facebook lawyers should start to consider the hypothesis that this is a work of art, as we are claiming since the beginning, but they don't trust us. Maybe they will trust Ars Electronica better than us. Okay, we were talking about personal reactions, which were as intense as the media one, and we had a form on the dating website for communicating with us. And of course, we were rough, treating people like that. I mean, not asking anybody permission to do what we do, but it was, as you can imagine, necessary. But we clearly stated, if you want to be off this website, just send us a mail, and we will did it. And I personally spent a couple of weeks delaying people who asked to be off the website. Of course, that wasn't really enough, so we received a very various kind of email from the protests, like "Shame on you, thief," to people who started to connect things in a very creative way, like this lady or girl, I don't know, who said, "Please take me down immediately. I'm getting creepy phone calls from a blocked number that saw my profile on a single site." Of course, luckily enough, we weren't involved. As fake emails from Interpol. This guy registered this Interpol.com, which is quite an ambiguous Interpol, and he wrote us a thing like, "So you stole the identities of 250,000 people, greedy fucks." Okay, I don't want to be too cursed, but you can imagine this was even more angry. You can read it on the screen. I don't want to continue to be more cursed than that, but there were people who wanted to be on the website, or they were very happy about our action. For example, there's this founder of Moby Digger, mobile privacy company, who was proposing us a potential partnership. We are talking about a commercial partnership for using the software. Or this other guy wanted to suggest some Facebook profiles to us to be included in the dating website, kind of sweet revenge for somebody, maybe. Or other people, and I can tell you there were not just 2 or 3, who wanted to be, as I said, in the website. Can you add my profile in your site? These were the kinds of press reaction. We even had 5 different death threats, and you can imagine, I mean, how many personal reaction there are. This is a kind of another chapter of the story. But I would like to, we would like to end with a few more general considerations about the action, about how Facebook works, because Facebook offers what can be termed as crowdsourced targeting, the indirect identification of people's targets and desires by the users themselves. In fact, the spontaneously posted data provides an endless, almost automatic, mutual profiling, enriching and updating the single virtual identities in a collective self-positioning. But can profile data be liberated from Facebook's inexorable logic? The answer, in our opinion, is yes. But it's important to focus on the core of the Facebook profiles and see how they are recognized as virtual identities. First, the profiles sublimate the owner's real social actions and references through their virtual presences. Second, they synthesize their effectiveness in representing real people through a specific element, the profile picture. This picture, an important Facebook interface, more often than not shows a face, and a smiling one at that. Our face is our most private space and simultaneously the most exposed one. How many people are allowed to touch our face, for example? And generally speaking, the face is also one of the major points of reference we have in the world. The resulting scenario is that different elements forming the identities can be remixed, recontextualized, and reused at will. Facebook data becomes letters of an unauthorized alphabet to be used to narrate real identities or new identities, forming new characters as a new background. And this is potentially open process that anybody can undertake. It becomes more tempting when we realize the vast amount of people who are smiling. When we smile in our profile picture, we are truly spying on everyone on Facebook. So any user can easily duplicate any personal picture on his or her hard disk and then upload it somewhere else with different data. The final step is to be aware that almost everything posted online can have a different life if simply recontextualized. If we start to play with the concepts of identity theft and dating, we should be able to unveil how fragile a virtual identity given to a proprietary platform can be, and how fragile enormous capitalization based on exploiting social system can be. And it will eventually mutate from a plausible translation of real identities into virtual management, or something just for fun, with no assumed guarantee of trust, crumbling the whole market evaluation hysteria that surrounds the crowded and much hyped online social platforms. Thank you very much.